Hello, my name is Madison Vallarino. I am a student at Flatiron School for Software Engineering, and for my first blog post, I decided to talk about git stash. Git stash is a GitHub command that allows for local storage of a working directory. It is seemingly a useful command for an active developer on a workforce because it can, for example, allow the developer to be able to switch quickly from their working code, fix an emergency bug on the main branch, and still be able to go back and retrieve previous work. I wanted to open this blog with a few commands that someone glancing at this post could kind of grab and go, because I know in my Google search times, I am often looking for a quick fix rather than an article read. So I wanted to accommodate those people, and I summarized what I would recommend for the step-by-step process of stash. So we have 4 commands. Git status would be our first, and it would look something like this. So git status gives you an overview of the current state of your working branch and shows the changes that have been made since last pulling from the main branch. So in this example, it would be the style CSS and the index HTML. Git stash will take those 2 files and store them onto your local machine and then revert your working directory back to the last commit. Git stash list is the next command that I listed. I don't think it is incredibly common. However, the only situation I could think of where this is relevant is if you're working on a file and attempting to write multiple versions of a code and to test and establish which one had the best behavior and functionality. So in that situation, it would be applicable, and you could go ahead and render your list of stashes to kind of know where you're at and what you're working with. Git stash pop is going to be the next general preferred practice and step, because it reapplies the most recent stash of your working directory, as well as removing that stash from the stash list so you don't end up with a list of useless stashes. So I thought it would be beneficial in conceptualizing git stash to understand the difference between git commit and git stash. So when we git pull from a main branch, we are essentially pulling the last save point that a developer committed. And when we git commit, we are making a new save point. Thus, in the situations where our code is not ready to be committed, git commit is not what we want, because we want to keep the last save point as is, pull down that information we don't have, and simply store the work that we have already done somewhere else, which is where git stash comes into play. Made a little visual for my readers for that, and added a pro tip that you always want to include a message to your stashes in order for your future self to know what you're up to when you come back to your work. I ended my blog with a couple more commands, and I included the git stash drop command, which would be useful in a situation that I was talking to about earlier, and you found the best version of a file and you simply want to delete the other stashes without applying them anywhere. And for anybody who didn't find this information sufficient, I linked a 10-minute YouTube video that explains git stash in simple words, and I found very helpful. And I further concluded my blog post with a friendly reminder to always stay calm and git stash. Thank you. Yeah.